As some of you may remember, back in March of this year, I did a video that was a direct side-by-side comparison of two different espresso machines. The $500 Gaggia Classic and the $5,000 Linea Mini. But just like any hobby, passion, interest, or whatever you want to call it, you can spend as much or as little as you'd like on the equipment. And since I'm in a very unique position of being able to put these types of things head to head, I can't help but want to do it. So in today's video, I'll be comparing side by side the Rancilio Silvia Pro X, a $2,000 machine, against the Marzocco GS3 manual paddle, an $8,000 machine. And much like the other side-by-side video, I'll be taking a closer look at their differences and similarities beyond the price tag, and of course, rounding it out with a blind taste test of shots from each machine. Of course, I don't want to be too presumptuous here, but I think this is one comparison that you won't want to miss. But first, a quick word from this video's sponsor, STANDART magazine. STANDART's mission is to connect the world through a love of coffee, and they accomplish that by bringing it directly to your fingertips and your taste buds. In an increasingly digital world, STANDART sees the value of a product you can touch. Each issue from cover to cover is a labor of love, focusing on a variety of topics around all things coffee. To sweeten the deal, each issue also comes with a sample of coffee from some of the world's best roasters and a satisfaction guarantee. So hit the STANDART link in the description or head to standartmag.com/Sprometheus and use the code Sprometheus at checkout to snag $5 off the best independent coffee magazine out there with free shipping directly to your door nearly anywhere in the world. When it comes down to those headlining features between the Pro X and the GS3 MP, these machines aren't quite as different as their price tags would lead you to believe. Both have the coveted dual boilers, with PID temperature control for adjustment and consistency. Both have saturated style group designs that further benefit thermal stability. Both have a digital display screen showing the machine's current temperature settings, shot times, and other menu features. And finally, the big selling point, adjustable pre-infusion. Although admittedly there are some differences in how that's achieved and controlled between these two machines. But we'll get more into that in a bit. Of course, both also utilize a commercial 58mm portafilter, so each machine has a wide array of additional options for baskets, distribution, and tamping. But unlike the Linea Mini and the Gaggia Classic, both the Pro X and the GS3 MP are the top-of-the-line home options from both Marzocco and Rancilio respectively. So the available upgrades to each are more or less limited to incremental performance parts like shower screens and dispersion plates, or aesthetic pieces like wooden knobs, handles, and panels. If at this point you're wondering why I spent the last couple of minutes explaining how these machines are similar, it's to really drive home the point that this comparison and the $6,000 price difference doesn't really come down to individual features themselves, and falls more onto that one vague but also very powerful word, quality. If you're watching this video, it's pretty likely you've heard the term prosumer espresso machine. And you're likely also aware that they come in a wide variety of options and prices. And as you may already know, both of these machines are considered prosumer, and since we've already covered their similarities at least on paper, it's time we probably kick the tires and check under the hood a bit. The majority of each of their bodies are made of metal, and they have internals that include steel and/or brass boilers, electronics, and wiring. But the Silvia weighs in at 44 pounds next to the GS3's 73. So the $1 million question, or I guess in this case the $6,000 question, is where does that 29 pounds come from? For one, the GS3's boilers have thicker walls, but also both are larger in capacity, equaling a total of 5 liters to the Silvia's 1.3. And the one major difference is the Silvia's dual vibration pumps versus the much larger and heavier rotary vane pump and motor powering the GS3. Also, I can't help but admire the cable management and the general layout inside the GS3. This is a skill in itself, and it's part of the reason you can get clear glass side panels to admire it. But I think as we discovered in the last side-by-side comparison, larger boilers, pump differences, and wiring harnesses aren't really a dead ringer for better espresso. So let's get brewing. At this point we've covered basically everything but the main reason why anyone would invest even a single dollar in these machines, and that is the espresso. Both Marzocco and Rancilio have been building espresso machines since 1927, so with nearly 100 years of experience, it's not a shocker that out of the box they're both capable of brewing shots that would please even the most discernible palate, enthusiast and professional alike. Since I've had both of these machines side by side for a few months now, I've definitely had lots of pulls from each, but I would be lying if I didn't say that some of the shots I've had from the GS3 are some of the best I've had to date. But the real test is going to be the blind tasting, where I'm almost literally going to be putting my money where my mouth is. So, much like the last side-by-side, I made a couple of small mods to the less expensive Silvia, with a new Pantechnicon dispersion plate and a Pullman basket. And then invited a talented barista friend over, gave them a coffee in the shop parameters, and then set them loose on the machines while I waited patiently in the other room. All of the shots tested will use a 17-gram dose, and were dialed into 34 grams in 30 to 36 seconds, and that's including a 6-second pre-infusion. This means on the Pro X, the soft infusion was set to its max of 6 seconds. And to emulate that on the GS3's paddle, it was only opened enough where the water was gently released from the group for a total of 6 seconds, and then immediately ramped up to 9 bars. Using a medium roasted espresso blend, I found myself preferring the shot brewed on the Silvia because of its fuller body and balance, versus the GS3 that carried more brightness and overall thinner body. But to round things out, I thought it would be interesting to taste a second coffee, and this time I chose a single origin. And on this go-around, I actually found myself preferring the shot from the GS3, because of its higher clarity and sweetness. So the general takeaway I left with is, the way the coffee is extracted on the Silvia through its more rigid guidelines produces more texture and balance, and on the GS3 with a similar brew profile as the Silvia, it edges more towards clarity. But I will say that because the GS3 MP gives you a lot more freedom beyond the 6 soft infusion settings and a solid brew pressure, you have so many more variables at your fingertips and you aren't locked in, so you can always push your coffee in whatever direction you prefer. Honestly, I really love being able to make comparison videos like this, because it allows me the opportunity to be able to change the narrative about cost being correlated with better espresso. And the price is more so connected to the materials used and how, who, or where it's built. And of course, I can't deny the power of brand reputation and recognition. But the sooner everyone understands and accepts that good espresso comes in many different price points, the better. Of course, it isn't lost on me that both of these machines, regardless of their differing price points, are at the top of the line for their respective manufacturers. And this shows in their performance, included accessories, and general fit and finish. And it's clear to me that both were made for and intended to be used for years. And just like on the last comparison video, I think it's important to say that the point of these types of videos isn't to declare a winner or loser. This is not adversarial, it's informational. Drawing a line between these two machines allows you to see where the line blurs and where it comes into focus. In the simplest of terms, both of these machines make good espresso. So if that's all you're looking for, why spend $8,000 when you can spend $2,000? But the GS3's value is more in its precise brewing, attention to detail, and higher density of commercial components. And I'm going to say it. It's more attractive, artistic design. And on that bombshell, I'm going to bid you farewell and pass the conversation on to you. What are your thoughts on the GS3 and the Pro X? Do you think their price difference is justified? Why or why not? And also, how would you define quality? So drop your answers to those questions and any others you may have in the comment section down below. And as always, I'll see y'all next week. And of course, a big thank you to this month's Patreon supporters: Stephen, Claire, Sam, Bound Coffee, Spookus, Noel, Cheryl, Tom, Sean, Horrison, Rose, Squeegee, Ads, Josh, Corey, Tim, Tony, Matt, Jason, Cameron, Robert Underdunk, Jeffrey R, Jeff Roth, Mike, Byron, Tyler, BJK Cafe, JRC Absolute, Stephen G, Home Barista Coach, Keefe, John K, Gumby, Alexis, Barista Michael, Arthur, TechCom Advisors, Ed T, Happy Camper, Keith, Gary, Devo, Ben, Monster04, Bruce, Lilac, Brooks, Henry, Sam, Kang, Sergey, Matthew, Miroslav, Malkonig, Schlack, Shrey, Stephen, Andrew, and Eric. And of course, a big thank you to the Barista and Barback tiers. If you want any information on my Patreon, there's a link in the description and in the upper right hand corner right now. And of course, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that little bell button for notifications of new videos posted every Friday. Check out my Instagram at Sprometheus for content throughout the week, my blog at Sprometheus.com, my coffee at littlegiant.coffee, and as always, stay caffeinated. Pony Boy.